Alpionese presents Tiny Tales of Transformation. Episode 25, Onboarding Partners. When discussing entities outside the company, it is useful to distinguish from the outset between two complementary categories. External partners are the stakeholders with whom the company builds, executes, secures, and accelerates the transformation. On the other hand, external stakeholders also have the capacity to influence, validate, accept, or impose constraints on the project, without necessarily participating in its operational delivery. In practice, the boundary can be ambiguous. Some stakeholders move from an observer role to one of direct contribution depending on the nature of the program. This distinction, nonetheless, serves a purpose. It makes it possible to calibrate the level of involvement, the timing and management of each external actor's intervention. From this point on, a successful transformation ceases to be a purely internal project. As soon as it affects cross-functional processes, customer interfaces, data flows, compliance requirements, or value chain interdependencies, it becomes a full ecosystem. Its success then depends as much on the quality of internal leadership as on the company's ability to involve the right external stakeholders in a shared value creation approach. The first group to consider is customers. Whenever the transformation redefines the experience, the service, the channels, or the use of customer insights, they provide an understanding of the real world, the pain points, and the actual expectations, which helps to anchor the transformation in perceived value. Next come critical suppliers, key subcontractors, and supply chain partners. When the project transforms planning, traceability, automation, or information flow, these actors become co-producers of future performance. Technology partners also play a central role. System integrators, software vendors, cloud providers, and data experts, AI or cybersecurity, bring capabilities that the company does not possess internally. Finally, in sensitive or highly regulated environments, supervisory authorities, auditors, certifiers, and compliance stakeholders directly influence the project's feasibility and the speed of execution. To this list, one should add a category that is often underestimated but proves decisive in many transformations: the ensemble of public authorities, insurers, banks, fiduciary firms, and notaries. Public authorities become involved when the transformation touches on territorial or sector-specific issues, public funding, permits, urban planning, infrastructure, or public acceptance. They thus influence the pace, priorities, and sometimes even the legitimacy of the project. Insurers play a major role as soon as the transformation alters the company's risk profile, particularly in the areas of cyber, operational, industrial, or business continuity risks. They provide guidance on insurability, prevention, and security requirements. Fiduciary firms, for their part, become key partners when the transformation affects the financial structure, control mechanisms, taxation, reporting, reorganization, or the quality of management information. They help translate operational change into economic and governance implications. As for notaries, their role becomes pivotal as soon as a program involves asset, property, corporate, or contractual transactions with significant legal dimensions. And finally, banks play a decisive role when the transformation involves financial requirements, changes in capital structure, investment transactions, a reorganization of financial flows, covenants, guarantees, or a more demanding assessment of a business model. They therefore influence the project's ability to deliver, the pace of deployment, and at times the very ambition of the project, whilst providing a rigorous assessment of its financial viability. Taken together, these categories reinforce the feasibility, sustainability, and institutional robustness of the transformation. When bringing these external stakeholders on board, timing makes all the difference. The early phase covering scoping, problem definition, value architecture, and interface choices is the tipping point. It is at this stage that the quality of the analysis of the external environment becomes apparent. Involving the most relevant stakeholders early makes it possible to define the problem more accurately, identify real dependencies, reveal feasibility constraints, and structural choices to be confirmed. A transformation that is well defined at the outset gains in relevance, fluidity, and sustainability. During the pilot phase, it is in the company's best interest to work with a select group of high value-added external partners. This approach allows for trials, testing of use cases, adjustment of interfaces, and design review under conditions that are close to reality. The project gains in implementation quality and learning capacity. Then, at the time of deployment, the scope can be broadened to accelerate adoption and embed the transformation across the broader ecosystem. The way these stakeholders are involved is just as important as their selection. A mature transformation begins with a clear mapping of the external landscape. Who influences the project? Who is affected by it? Who holds key resources? Who brings legitimacy? And who conditions implementation? Based on this analysis, the organization can design a tailored approach to engagement. Some stakeholders contribute to decision-making, others to design, others still to trials, and still others in establishing the overall framework. Value then arises from a demanding combination of clear governance, shared objectives, strong relationships, knowledge-sharing practices, and the ability to adapt over time. The most effective formats are those that link dialogue to genuine decision-making. Co-design workshops, mixed teams, joint pilot projects, extended steering committees, advisory boards, and structured feedback loops. So why is this effort so decisive? More often than not, a transformation is undermined at the interfaces, in blind spots, in misinterpreted dependencies, in constraints that are addressed too late, or in the absence of buy-in from key stakeholders. Involving external partners and stakeholders helps reduce the risk of misalignment, provides access to additional resources, improves adoption, strengthens resilience, and embeds compliance into the very logic of the project. It leads to a transformation that is more realistic, more practical, and more sustainable. For the company, the value often translates into stronger performance over time. For external stakeholders, the value lies in visibility regarding upcoming changes that affect them and opportunities for cooperation or joint innovation. And for the project itself, the major benefit lies in the changed nature. It becomes less internal, more relational, more robust, and more closely aligned with its real environment. Alpionis partners with you to determine which external stakeholders to engage, for what purpose, at what point in the project, with what level of influence, and within what governance framework. This is where the difference lies between a transformation designed for the organization and a transformation capable of bringing on board the entire ecosystem necessary for its success. Want to find out more? Join us on alpionis.ch. alpionys.ch